afternoon, everyone.
And welcome to the Lynn Cancer Institute updates for 2025. As you know, especially from our nutrition series, this is important information for everyone. We're very grateful to have Marie Mirande, our oncology clinical dietitian, with us today, and she'll be educating us on men's health. At the Lynn Cancer Institute, we believe that nutrition is the basis for healthy living for both our patients and survivors, as well as for prevention for the rest of us. So thank you, Marie. We look forward to this education.
Thank you, Jan, and welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. We're discussing nutrition for men's wellness. Of course, September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, so we want to focus on our men for today's presentation. So our goal today is we'll talk about how diet impacts overall health. What we eat really does impact how our body functions. So let's think about some of the concerns that are common to men and, just as much to women as well. But what our men face: prostate cancer risk, of course, lung cancer, very predominant, colon cancer, heart disease, diabetes, which involves metabolic syndrome, and high blood pressure. So a lot of these health concerns can be managed with diet. Of course, not completely, but our diet does play a role in reducing the risk of these chronic diseases. So what are defense measures to reduce health risk? There's many different ways that our foods and food items can help. For instance, we can lower blood pressure with garlic and foods that are high in potassium in our diet. We can lower prostate cancer risk by eating more cooked tomatoes and soy foods. We can lower blood sugar and colon cancer risk by eating more fiber. Fiber helps to control blood sugars, reduce diabetes risk, keep the colon healthy, reduce the risk of colon cancer, of course, support our good gut microbiome, and control metabolic syndrome, which is a risk factor for heart disease, which garlic may also help as well. So a lot of these interventions have synergistic, multifaceted benefits to our overall health. So let's dive a little bit more into this. We can lower blood pressure, cholesterol, inflammation, and keep our immune systems strong by eating garlic. So it doesn't take a lot of garlic, actually. You can start with 1 clove a day of raw, preferably. The best way to prep a garlic clove is to chop actually smash it, get the peels off, and then chop or slice it. And then actually you want to kind of let it sit on that cutting board for about 10 minutes. The enzymes in the garlic will activate and maximize that health benefit that you can get. And then you can throw it into stir fry or soup or, veggies or whatever you're going to eat that garlic with. Throw it on a piece of garlic bread or something. For patients with metabolic syndrome, people taking garlic, it was shown to slow plaque buildup, which metabolic syndrome leads to heart disease, and that's all of the factors. So including that clove or more of garlic is beneficial there. Garlic may interfere with some medications, so we always have to be aware of that in our diets and with our medications. Coumadin seems to react with just about everything in the world, a certain type of HIV medication, and aspirin. So you don't want the garlic breath. Chew on mint or apples or lettuce after a meal may help. So, no excuses that we're going to have bad breath or something like that. We just need to time that well and correctly. So, as we mentioned, fiber in the diet can reduce the risk of diabetes and protect our gut and reduce the risk of colon cancer. So, increase fiber in the diet. High fiber foods include raw fruits and vegetables, salads, especially fruits with the skin, beans and lentils, multigrain, whole grain breads and cereals, and nuts and seeds. So here we have a kind of a nice pictorial, all of those nuts, whole grains, oats, bananas, apples, berries, the carrots, the cabbage, different leafy greens, of course. So fiber rich foods cannot digest or absorb, but they nourish our bodies. It supports our gut health, and that gut bacteria provide our body with immune benefit, and those short chain fatty acids are so good for reducing cancer risk. So fiber fuels that gut bacteria, which produces those short chain fatty acids. It would then regulate our appetite and help with satiety. Satiety is that feeling of satisfaction with our meals. Fiber can regulate cholesterol, which can improve cholesterol numbers and heart disease risk, of course, improve insulin resistance, maintain that healthy gut barrier so we're not getting gut infections and cross infections, navigate to the brain to impact our brain health. Healthy gut has been linked to a healthy mind. So all of these factors are important for men's wellness, long-term and short-term. Fiber in foods traps bile, which is made from cholesterol, forcing the body to use more cholesterol and make more bile, so it can help to repurpose cholesterol in our body and reduce the numbers. And fiber in diet slows digestion, reducing blood sugar spikes. So very important to always include high fiber foods at every meal. I threw in a couple of pictures of some products that I think are really nice. This Olay brand Extreme Wellness Wraps. There's the 0 net carbs now, or the 2 net carb original. But if you use this one, you start a meal with 12 grams of fiber. And now we can use that for a sandwich wrap or a burrito or quesadilla. It's very versatile and great to have around. They do have different sizes. They have a smaller and a larger one, depending on what your purpose is going to be. I also tend to encourage people to try the Ezekiel bread. Ezekiel bread is sprouted, and it's a mixture of wheat, barley, beans, lentils, millet, and spelt. It's actually based off of a Bible verse in Ezekiel 4:9. So with this, you can have a sandwich, 2 slices of bread, with 6 grams of fiber and 10 grams of protein before you've even added anything onto your sandwich, which is a great option. So kind of keep these kind of things in mind. We mentioned eating foods high in potassium, which can help manage your blood pressure. So potatoes, leafy greens, sweet potatoes, artichokes, pumpkin. You can see actually almost any and every fruit or vegetable that we'll talk about is a good source of potassium, which means it's going to help lower, shift the salt out of the system and boost our immune system. So dates, really great. Berries, of course, or melons or apricots, beans, lentils. So, other foods that can help keep you strong. Soy. So soy, it's gotten a lot of mixed messages out in the world. In the realm of our women and breast cancer, we've been back and forth with soy. We now know actually soy is very good for breast cancer survival and can reduce the risk of death. And we also pretty good evidence now that eating soy as a man can reduce the risk of prostate cancer, can support the gut. So we want to focus on whole soy foods. Just like anything else, we do want to reduce processed foods. So processed soy, like a soy burger, a boca burger, things like that, is not so great. But if you include tofu or miso miso soup or drink soy milk or eat soy nuts, tempeh, tofu crumbles, are great ways of getting that soy in, and the unfermented soy from the tofu and the soy milk has been shown to be benefit, reduce the risk of prostate cancer. Now, of course, we talked about tomatoes, cooked especially, provide lycopene, which is a potent antioxidant in the prostate, can help to decrease the PSA and decrease oxidative damage to the organ. Broccoli and its family of foods It'd be great if we could have 3 servings per week or a serving a day, even make it significantly reduce the risk of cancer. So salmon, fatty fish, flax seeds are anti-inflammatory, reduce risk of prostate cancer along with heart disease. So all of these things kind of work together. We talked about garlic and onions. Now, vegetables as a goal, 28 servings per week. So we do the math. That's about 4 vegetables a day. So that does take planning. It means including some kind of a vegetable at every meal or a snack or something. So in larger quantities than you may be used to. So, and that goal would also be a variety. So a lot of different types of vegetables would be even better. Fruit, our goal is 2 per day. It'd be great if we could include pomegranate arrows or juice, berries, because those specifically have evidence against fighting against prostate cancer. We want selenium-rich foods, so Brazil nuts and seafood and whole grains provide us with selenium, which is a good antioxidant and anti-inflammatory mineral that we find in those foods. Spice it up with turmeric, curcumin is found to be helpful in reducing the risk of prostate cancer. They do find that in the Indian population, they have, I think it was way back, and at one point it was 10 times less incidence of prostate cancer. And that's been related to their diet and a high intake of turmeric in their foods from curries and spices. So some of the best foods: shellfish we talked about, seafood, fish, chicken, turkey, nuts, seeds. Excuse me. As a source of zinc, good quality protein, which is good for the muscle, for the heart, and even sperm count. So salmon, fatty fish, 2 to 3 times per week for the healthy omega-3 fats. Flax seeds have been studied related to reduced risk of prostate cancer. Flax seeds are an easy thing to work into, say, a bowl of oatmeal, cereal. You could even add it to salad dressings and put them into a salad. Throw it into a pancake mix or muffin mix or something like that, just to get that extra fiber and protein. And the healthy fats, the omega-3 fats, as anti-inflammatory oils. So we talked about tomatoes, citrus, also was found to be helpful in reducing the risk of prostate cancer. Squash and other yellow vegetables, pumpkin, carrots, sweet potatoes, peppers, not just prostate cancer risk, but protect the eyes, help to fight cancer, help to reduce, cold risk, vitamin A, things like that. So leafy greens, spinach, collards, mixed greens, we get lutein, we get magnesium, we get folate, protect again the eyes, improve blood flow. So all good. Cherries, berries, and pomegranates fight inflammation. So all of these foods should be included in our diets. Our healthy fats from avocado. So include the guac, a sliced avocado on a sandwich or part of breakfast is great to fight inflammation, fight belly fat. Ginger as an anti-inflammatory, reduce muscle pain. It can boost the immune system. I've actually been doing a bit of ginger in my teas lately, just because of my little cold here, and a lot of green tea. Beans, peas, lentils, and edamame, soy, high in fiber, folate, other vitamins, and of course that green tea. And so the foods that we don't want, because that's a lot of food. There's a lot of foods that we are going to benefit our bodies and keep us healthy and maintain our gut health and reduce the risk of prostate cancer. The things we want to stay away from is red meat, especially the higher fat cuts of meat. If we need to do some red meat, then you want a lean cut. Definitely would avoid processed meats as much as possible. Our hot dogs and bacon and salami and pepperoni, our have a lot of added nitrates and phosphates and um, preservatives that can cause damage to organs. They have found processed meats increase the risk of colon cancer. They can damage the kidneys as far as risk of chronic kidney disease, which can come up with diabetics a lot. So it is of concern to reduce that. And I would probably extend to a lot of other processed foods in general. If you look at the labels on a lot of our foods and cereals and breads and snack items, there's a lot of dyes, there's a lot of preservatives, there's a lot of fillers and binders and nutrients that we just don't really understand or recognize. So the more whole food, simple ingredient kind of foods that we can eat, minimally processed, the better our overall health can be. So we want to kind of limit whole fat dairy products, sugar sweetened beverages, saturated fats, salt, no. And interestingly enough, there was a study where um, men who were taking excessive vitamin supplements, like pill vitamins, especially B12 and folate and calcium, had an increased risk of prostate cancer. So we're always kind of taught a food first approach. And this is why, because too much vitamins can be a problem versus your whole foods. So, we talked about, replace our red meat or processed meats with fish, seafood, chicken, increase plant foods, adding beans, lentils, tofu, or thoughtful meat alternatives. Interesting enough, lentils, and we don't even have to do a complete swap. You could just add a little bit into, say, a meatball, a little extra, or to a sauce with your ground meat, and just kind of expand that dish. Replace high saturated fat foods with sour cream, and cheeses with yogurt and low fat cheese. Greek yogurt can be used in a lot of recipes to offer that creaminess, for instance, like a salad dressing or a dip, or even as a replacement for mayonnaise, and adds more protein and adds those probiotics, of course, from a yogurt. And most yogurts will be fat free. So you'll replace the fats, of course. So meals like tacos, nachos, chili, burgers can be made better. You use, like I said, if absolutely necessary, use a low fat or very low fat ground beef. For meals, you can do ground turkey, of course, or chicken can also be used. You can replace some of the meat in tacos or meatloaf or chili or meatballs with lentils or mushrooms. That would be great as well. Use beans and chicken for tacos or nachos, or even tried grilled shrimp, because we know that shrimp was going to give us that selenium. Try buffalo chicken tacos with cabbage and salsa. You're going to get the benefit without kind of compromising that kind of comfort food. Sirloin would be a lower fat steak if you were out and indulging, or I like to have a salmon at steakhouses because they're always very good at making a good salmon. So I mentioned thoughtful meat alternatives. So a lot of the meat alternatives will still be a very processed soy-based option. This was very interesting. I found last year and actually I can pick it up at my Walmart. It's rolling greens, plant-based meat. And this is a salt and pepper seasoned. They have a taco seasoned already. And it's pea protein, onion, garlic, agar as a fiber, sea salt, apple and carrot juice for color, black pepper, thyme, oregano. So I thought it was a nice option, especially with meals like tacos or chili or something like that, where the star of the show is not necessarily the meat, but it gives that filling, that base to the meal. So it's a nice way of doing a meat alternative. So like I said, we can replace sour cream, mayonnaise with fat-free Greek yogurt, and that can increase. We can replace high-fat meat cheeses with low-fat using skim milk. We can use broth to cook in a pan instead of a lot of butter for more fat-free cooking. Pretzels or baked chips instead of traditional chips, of course, or popcorn. Skinny pop or a low-fat popcorn is great for a snack. Salsa instead of a high-fat queso, or we can find a vegan queso, which we'll talk about in a minute. Replace cheese dips with guacamole because we know that avocados are going to be good, healthy fats, and bean dips. So I mentioned cowboy caviar like as a bean dip. This is great for a game day type or even a lunchtime snack, part of a meal. Um, Cowboy caviar is basically black beans, black eyed peas, onions, tomatoes, bell peppers, corn, jalapeno, which you do at your to your tolerance, garlic, and then just red wine vinegar and olive oil. So that's a great option. You can eat it with tortilla chips. You could add some additional protein and have it like a salad. I know I've been doing a lot of Mediterranean salads, which is cucumber, onion, tomatoes, chickpeas, feta cheese, and then whatever else you might want to add in there, parsley, cilantro, something like that. And it's very filling. It's a very nice lunch, especially with the feta cheese. That gives us a nice salty kind of flavor to it, balances out the, and again, just a red wine and olive oil kind of dressing. Instead of hamburger sliders, maybe do a chicken parmesan slider. So make it even better with whole wheat buns. Mix shredded skinless chicken breast with your marinara, and then use a low-fat mozzarella, and still have that ooey gooey deliciousness for a game day with less fat. And like I mentioned, consider maybe some vegan queso. So we can use the vegan queso for nachos as a dip, when burgers on a quesadilla, or anything like that. Um, so the way this is made is basically with soaked cashews. That's how a lot of vegan cheeses are done. Um, and then garlic. Nutritional yeast is a great option for adding that cheesy flavor to something vegan without the cheese. So nutritional yeast is kind of like a Parmesan cheese for vegans. Cumin, of course, chili powder. We're going to get all those nice flavors of tacos. And then, of course, hot salsa or hot sauce or rotel would be great because that'll add some of those tomatoes and stuff into that queso as well. So that's a nice option and highly nutritious because we're going to get all of the benefits of those spices. Garlic. Nutritional yeast is a good source of B vitamins as well, so that's nice. And then, like I said, we could do lentil meatballs. You could do 100% lentils where you just cook the lentils. You add in all the normal breadcrumbs and egg and garlic powder and salt and pepper and your normal seasoning and roll them up into balls and cook them on a frying pan. You could add some lentils in with beef. So there's nice. And then, of course, do the nice tomato sauce or maybe a sweet chili sauce glaze that will kind of up that enjoyment factor. So I think it's important to realize that health's not going to come from pills or medications, especially since we know we can overdo it on vitamin supplements, and maybe even protect cancer cells with high doses of antioxidants or things like that. But we are going to protect our bodies and be our strong selves from natural foods, from getting our plate in shape, so to speak. So if you look here, we have a half of the plate with fruit, vegetables. We're using our whole grain, and about a third or a quarter of that plate with our good protein sources. So thank you all very much for joining me. And if there are any questions, I'm going to figure out how to stop sharing so everybody can see me in my husky voice and see if there's any questions.
That was amazing, Marie.
Well, thank you.
And still, it's always amazing that I am privileged to be able to hear your lectures once a month, and there's always something new to learn. So I want everyone to know that Marie is very generous with her slides. So aside from this lecture being filmed or recorded, which you can request a copy of it. So if you want to look at it again, if you want to share it with family or friends that you feel would benefit from this, any of the men in your life that may not have been able to listen, it's really good information. And who doesn't love cowboy caviar? I mean, just to get the recipe alone, it's worth it. So again, Lee will send out a survey. And so please complete the survey. We always appreciate that. But at that time, you can also request the link. The link should be ready by the end of the week if you'd like to review this again. Marie, thank you for all your research. In case you didn't notice, Marie is feeling a little under the weather, so we really appreciate you being with us today. I wanted to give everyone a little preview of the lectures that we'll be having in October. On October 11th, which is a Saturday, we're going to return to an in-person lecture on breast cancer. It'll be the first one in person since COVID. And Dr. Morell and Dr. Tay will be speaking. The title is DNA to Diagnosis, Bridging Genetics and Imaging in Breast Cancer. Our mobile mammography van will also be there from 10 till 12, and we will be serving lunch. On Wednesday, October 15th, we're going to see Marie again. And just as she did Men's Health today, she'll be educating us on women's breast health in October. And that's Wednesday, October 15th. On Friday, October 17th, we're going to have the second part of our physician panel on breast cancer treatment options. And we will have Dr. Michael Zeidman, Dr. Hillary Shapiro Wright, Dr. Zeiden, and Dr. Angelina Tay for that lecture. So we hope that the women and men can join us for October lectures. Thank you, Marie. Feel better. And
Thank you.
everyone have a great afternoon and remainder of the week. Thank you.